Welcome back, everyone, to another edition of the Prospect Profits Live Show. I'm here with Lorenz Leinweber, the senior scout at the NFL Draft Bible. And Lorenz, I mean, you fit the description. Senior makes a ton of sense. I think
I'm very old.
you look around 50 or 60. So,
Wow.
yeah, the film's been
Waking
taking
up to the
years,
straight
Yeah,
disrespect.
no, the film has been putting years on you. I mean,
Yeah, whatever
you
you
gotta
say, man.
you gotta go outside and get some sun.
Dude.
But
I'm
anyways,
it's like not too bad.
no, it's not too bad.
Thank
We're
you.
here talking summer scouting because again, unfortunately, Jack Despo is on vacation without us, which is so rude. Should have invited us on this vacation, but that's all right. So we'll be talking some summer scouting while we can't do the NFL breakdowns without our NFL guy. Today we're talking cornerbacks, one of the top positions and most important positions in football, one of the positions that you'll see go early in the draft. And we got a pretty good bunch this year. I think that we had some decent corners last year, and I think this bunch might be even potentially even better or deeper than what we had last year. Ton of corners. We're going to talk about 6 of our favorites today. But before we do that, Lorenz, how you doing, man? Sorry for coming at you early in the morning, but
Yeah, just coming straight at me saying I look old. I mean, like, I don't know if I feel like no one would agree with that, but
no.
you do you know. I think it's a good cornerback group from what I've seen. Obviously, haven't seen everyone, but I've been very focused on the Southeast. Got 3 top tier prospects down there. Just saying it like it is. 3, I think, first round or fringe first rounders at least. We'll circle back for you guys on the Washington kids. Haven't gotten there yet. They got 2 talented ones. But yeah, I think we got a good group to talk about today. So I think this could be a good class. And like I said, a couple of the players we're going to be getting into are very talented.
Yeah, and if you've watched our show before, I think we had Jeremiah Bogan on, our DB expert, talking Trent McDuffie and Kyler Gordon, the 2 Washington kids. Haven't gotten to them yet. They are very much in the conversation of top 5 in this class. So we'll eventually get to them.
No, we're just disrespecting them.
We're disrespecting Washington. We don't like Washington here. But no, I'm just kidding.
Go Dogs, but not the one on the West Coast.
Yeah. But we'll be talking. We're talking 6 corners today. I think at least one that you're going to be very fairly familiar with. There's also plenty of others that I'm pretty sure everyone watching will know, especially if you watched the show before. So Lorenz started off with who's probably been the favorite to go be the top corner in this class since high school, and now has a shot at winning Heisman next year, as he's probably going to play corner and wide receiver. LSU's Derek Stingley.
Yeah, I mean, Derek Stingley, it's a bit of a curious case. But first of all, looking at Derek Stingley, he's a long-limbed corner. He's around, I think he's around 6'1.5", maybe just 6 foot. Doesn't really matter. He's got long arms. If you watch him in 2019, I think really as a true freshman in the SEC on the championship-winning roster there for the LSU Tigers, that's his best tape. He had 6 interceptions, had none last year, and that's not the one deciding factor. Obviously, if you're good at cornerback, but he looked a bit like he was playing with the handbrake on, just not not full go. He had a COVID injury, he had some other injuries throughout the year, and 2020. He just didn't have the type season he had in 2019, but when he's healthy, he's got excellent athleticism and fantastic ball skills. I mean, there's just no other way to put it. He's so good in man coverage, working back towards the football, adjusting late, but then he's so good finding it and seeing the football that a lot of times he's able to intercept back shoulder passes, but while like reaching away from his frame, so it doesn't really have to come to him. You see that a lot from corners. They turn around like, oh, here it is. They somehow collect it. He's hands out, just plucking it away. I mean, it's a thing of beauty. His ball skills really in man coverage. You just don't see it as much. And he's disciplined. I mean, in coverage, his process is really sped up. He's twitchy at the top of routes. He's got good feet. He can match and mirror really, really well. I think he's best in man coverage. He can do some press, but even off man, he's very good. And I think if you look at the concerns, it's really his effort in run support in 2020. get back to his 2019 form from a physical perspective, and we're looking at one of the better cornerback prospects to come out in the past. If he's having the season that we expect him to have last year after that freshman season this year, I think he's going to reclaim that title of CB1. There's another player I think that's in the mix to go very highly that we'll talk about in a minute, but I think a healthy Stingley is probably a top 10 pick and is probably a difference maker in the NFL because of his ability in man coverage and because of his ball skills. It's just rare traits. You don't see it. I think he's going to be a good receiver just because, man, if he can run routes a little bit and with that ability to catch the football, they'll get him the ball a couple times, maybe just on verticals, and he's probably going to make some plays because my guy has terrific ball skills and, one of the best talents in college football when healthy.
Yeah, and I think that if you look at what Derek Stingley did his 2019 season, it's pretty clear that he was probably the most hyped cornerback prospect since Jalen Ramsey, you could say. And I know Jeff Okudah, that's no disrespect to him. He was a tremendous talent coming out, but I think Stingley's got to be the best corner since Jalen Ramsey coming out, and then has the down year, not healthy. If he's healthy this year, comes back to that 2019 form, you said it best. This is not only a corner that's top 10 in the draft. This is a top 5 pick in next year's draft. So
potentially, yeah.
Right.
I mean, the one reason, I mean, if you just showed me the 2019 tape, I'd be more in than now having seen some of the 2020. That's really the one thing why you would say, hey, I'm not all the way there on Derek Stingley, but I mean the tools are awesome. He's in the class of Okudah's, of the Jalen Ramseys, although Ramsey was a little bit more of a different cat coming out.
Ramsey's a different story.
Stingley, he if he's there, if he's healthy, he can be up there with the top guys in the league.
Yeah, and we'll move on here to our next guy, a little bit more of an under-the-radar guy, but if you listen to the show, you know my feelings on this guy, Avery Young from Rutgers. And you think senior at Rutgers, cornerback, usually doesn't breed first round, you don't think first round, but he's a legit player there, has gotten tons of recognition from us here at the NFL Draft Bible, but it's well-deserving. I mean, this is a kid who has insane abilities as a press man corner on the outside, has shown versatility to play on the inside as well, shown his versatility as a zone corner, though I don't love him as much there. I think really you're using him best, getting him in the face of a receiver, affecting the timing of a route right out the gate. Has some pretty decent feet, quick feet to stay with receivers, but really strong long arm, uses the sideline well to his advantage, is almost like a second defender for him. And he really is a talented corner that you have to keep an eye on going into next year. I think this is someone who another year going against those Ohio State wide receivers, going against some of the players in the Big Ten that you want to see him go against. I think you got to keep him in the conversation to go first round potentially. He has shown those abilities. He's physical. He's strong. He's quick. This is a kid who can easily jump up some draft boards, and I wouldn't be shocked if you find him going top 20 in next year's draft. Now, I'm thinking now his realistic range is somewhere in the 25 to 40 range, but if he has a great season in the Big Ten, there's no reason why he can't jump up boards, maybe go top 20. This is a really talented corner that has to be in the conversation for next year.
Yes, I watched Avery Young because I was curious because I know you guys and Corey and a lot of scouts over at the NFL Draft File, even JB, were really high on him. I'm there on the talent. I love him in press. I think he's one of the better press guys I've seen in this class. Really able, like you said, able to reroute, able to win at the line of scrimmage. I think there's some limitations, and I think they come with his long speed, and I think that's why they put him in the nickel a little bit. There are times where he's just not comfortable running deep and running vertically those yards, those really deep routes. He is at times looking a little grabby. That said, it's a good find by you guys because this kid, I mean, I'm more in the day 2 range. I think I gave him like a second to third preliminary grade that might still rank in my top 50 just because you're not giving out that many top preliminary grades. I think Avery Young's a talented player. If you're running a press system, man, there's someone who's got to be on your radar. I don't think he's going to be for everyone, but I think there's a place for Avery Young in the league. So I think he's a good player. And, really good find by you guys because he's talented.
Yeah, I can't take credit for the find. I think it was Jack Borowski and Corey Ezring who found him, sent him over to Jeremiah Bogan, who was like, yeah, this kid's legit. And then they sent him to me. I'm like the final check after. They're pretty confident, but they want to make sure that the terrible scout can figure it out, and I like it.
Don't put yourself down like that. Come on.
But, hey, we'll move on to the next guy. Another guy who I really like going into next year and a potential, hey, if Stingley has a bad year, I think this might be our favorite for cornerback one, Andrew Booth from Clemson.
Absolutely. Andrew Booth, guys, I mean, he only rotated in and out of the starting system there at Clemson. They had Sheridan Jones, Darion Kendrick, who we'll get into a little bit, but you can't tell me there was anyone more talented in that Clemson secondary last year. I mean, he's another guy. He's wiry. He's also long-armed. I think I saw he's got 32 in either quarter or half-inch arms.
Yeah.
Man, he has got special movement skills, and he's springy and explosive to crazy excellent levels. I mean, he can make plays. I don't know, people might remember the leaping one-handed interception against Virginia Tech or Virginia, one of the two. He had one against Pittsburgh where he's just there's this one angle from the end zone where he's just leaping through the air, and you can really see it with his transitions, with his twitch in space. It's stupid. Like, you just don't see it. It's rare movement skills. And then he's so competitive, whether that's at the catch point, in the run game. You love to see it. He does not take plays off. He knows he's getting rotated in and out, and he's taking full advantage of those reps that he's getting. He's got some inconsistent moments, got some false steps. His timing can be off. Timing and technique in press usually gets bailed out because of that silly athleticism, because there are just no receivers in the ACC. No disrespect to anyone, or not any he went up against that could really punish him. Because he's such a special athlete. Those are things he can clean up, but, I mean, yeah, that athleticism just doesn't come around. I think he's going to be a playmaking corner in the league. He's another guy who is a first-round player in my book. His flaws are coachable. That's the exciting thing with Booth. Those technical aspects, timing aspects, just getting a little more sound, not being as sped up in your process. Those are things that he can fix, and I think they got good coaching there at Clemson. So sky's the limit for Andrew Booth. He was the player I was alluding to who could potentially be the one to challenge Stingley in this class. I think both are top-tier talents. I think Stingley, because of the ball skills, and man, might have the small advantage. But man, if you're telling me Andrew Booth is your favorite corner right now, or Derek Stingley is your favorite corner at this point in the process, I couldn't really tell you you're wrong, because I like both of these kids. And I think both of them are going to be really high really high draft picks, and we're really going to see it this year when Andrew Booth is going to be a full-time starter there on the outside for the Clemson Tigers.
Yeah, I can't imagine there are many players in this class, many players in this class better than Andrew Booth, but I don't think that there's many corners. At least he's got to be at least in the conversation with Stingley for one, but I guess worst case scenario, you're looking at him as like the third corner off the board, and I don't even see that being it. I think he's number two for me pretty solidly. One Stingley, two Booth, and I think that they're not closer than I thought they would be after Stingley's 2019 season. I thought he was going to be well above anyone else in this class, but Booth is a stud, point blank.
And one thing I want to add, I think that I sold short a little bit while I was raving about his athleticism. He doesn't only have the physical talent, but he's also got the demeanor to be one of the best corners in the league. So, yeah, I mean, bright future for Andrew Booth. He's very good. He's definitely someone you should know about.
Yeah, and let's move here to another. I don't think this guy's under the radar at this point. Got the nickname to back him up, Ahmad Sauce Gardner, and he does in fact fit the nickname. Kid is really good and is going to have a shot to compete for a first round pick. And I do think that he's in that same range as Avery Young, where you're talking about maybe a late first, probably more so early to mid second. But this kid has all the physical attributes that you'd like in an outside corner. He's long, lengthy, he's got some long speed to him. Very physical at the catch point, very physical at the point of attack against the receiver. Yeah, there's concerns in his game, of course, but that's the stuff that you're looking for in an outside corner. I don't think he has the abilities to move inside. That's the one thing. He's not versatile enough, I think, to go inside because he doesn't really have short area quickness, has some problems with keeping up with some short routes. Long routes, he has some long strides, keeps with them, can stay with them pretty well. But he is definitely not, you're going to be not a corner that you can bring in and play the nickel role. I don't think he's going to have to be on the outside, which is usually more of a valuable position anyways, but he's not going to be able to make that transition in if you need him to. Other concerns in his game, I think that he tends to lose track of the ball. He's very good at the point of attack or at the catch point, but tends to lose track of the ball, doesn't get his hands involved enough, has to get better at that, has to get his head around quicker. Things that he can work on at the next level. This is not something that takes him out because those physical tools are excellent and he's going to be able to really compete at the NFL level. I'm excited to see what he does this year. Cincinnati is returning a very talented roster and maybe none so as talented as Ahmad Sauce Gardner. So we will see what he can do this year, but I'm excited for what he can do.
I'll say one thing about Sauce. Like he's got to chill a little bit because he's feisty to a point where he's grabby and he's tackling dudes. And you're like, man, I think he got flagged like 7 times last season, which is a bit much, to say the least. That's the one thing with him, really. Like, man, Sauce gotta tune it down a little bit. But you know,
the sauce is too spicy. What can you do?
It is. It's always easier to get players to be less aggressive than to try to get some aggression out of them. So I guess that's a good part of his game. But I've yet to do my deep dive on him. But that's just something I saw, and I was like, man, he's aggressive.
Yeah, he is aggressive, and penalties are definitely a concern for him. But I would say, see what he does this year. I mean, cornerback is such a I like the mindset, at least, of the aggressiveness from the corner, and I think you do as well. I think that to play corner at a high level at the next level, you need to be almost like a dog in a sense. You need to be physical and aggressive against receivers. You have to think that you could beat any receiver in the league, and I think that he's got that mindset. Sometimes that mindset breeds penalties and grabbing, and that's something to work on. There's definitely he's got a whole year now to work on it, so we'll see what he can do going into next year. But we'll move on here to the next guy, your guy, Kaiir Elam from Florida.
Yeah, I mean, Florida, they had a bad defense last year, but this was the one player I really came away. I mean, and Brenton Cox, who's good. Mm-hmm. This was the one player I really came away with pretty impressed with. He's 6'2". Listed at 195, man. I wouldn't be shocked if he's 200 pounds. He's big, he's built, he's long. He's got that prototypical size and length. Yes, sir. What's up, Will?
Shout out, Will.
He's a good athlete. He's got fluid, low hips. You really like his fluidity. And then he's got that spatial awareness and field vision, which is really impressive in space, in zone. And that really allows him to find the football, to find receivers, to cover opponents, and with that length, he can force turnovers. Only had 2 picks last year, but I think if people threw at him more, he would have had more, because there are really moments where he's able to undercut routes, where he's able to peel off one route, go jump the other, make a play on the football. In press, he's got that potential because of that size and because of that length. I don't think he plays to it yet consistently. That would add another element to his game in the NFL if and when he's able to really play press coverage, to be a press bail type of guy. But that's still got to happen. He can get run over in the run game. It's another thing, man. You're 6'2", 200. Just got to be a little tougher than that. And then quick wideouts give him trouble, which is why I think he's a little bit scheme specific. So I think Elam is tailor-made for cover 3, Seattle scheme, for those teams, he might be the number one corner on the board, or number two, or number three, depending on he might be ranked really, really highly because he is. I mean, those other
Or
two
number
are just
4.
special. No, not going lower than that because but those other two guys are just special. But if you're running a lot of press man, if you're running a lot of off man, he's just, at least in my opinion, right now, he doesn't have that twitch and that close quarter quickness to really cover quick route runners. Those are the ones that give him trouble. So I think for a cover 3 system, he is tailor made. And if there's going to be a team in the first round, like the Dallas Cowboys now running the Dan Quinn defense, that's going to say, hey, we're going to continue to upgrade that corner room, I think he could be one of the best corners in the league in that type of a system, in that type of a defense. If he lands in the wrong spot, and I don't think those teams will really covet him as highly in the first or early second. I mean, it's a long way out from the draft. It could be a little troublesome for Elam. So I think he's scheme specific. That's why he's not up there in the same tier to me as those first two. But from a sense of NFL success, that he could be someone that potentially makes Pro Bowls, that turns into a very high-quality starter in the league, I can see it. Just got to be in the right system for Elam. Still a talented player, not to take away from him, but it's got to be in the right situation.
Yeah, I've not seen much on Elam, to be honest with you, so I will take your word for it. But, Will, come on, DBU, Florida?
Yeah, I mean, it's clearly Texas.
What? But Florida and Texas will, in a couple of years, Florida and Texas will get to play every year in the SEC, so that'll be fun. But, hey, let's move on to one of the corners from, well, he was from Clemson. He is now going to Georgia, and I think Georgia's got a crazy, is it slander if it's spoken? It is, right? Then yes, I think it's slander. I don't know. It's slander.
You're asking the German guy. What do I know?
Yeah. We're asking the German for American vocab here. Well, we should do a German vocab word and American vocab word every show. Spread the culture.
Dude,
give us the German vocab word of the day.
We can think about it in the next production meeting.
You got one for us? Come on.
Like what? What do you want to know?
What about gator? Is there alligator? Is that
crocodile? I don't know. Alligator. It's just the same thing. It's just pronounced differently.
Well, there you go. There's alligator in German. But yeah, let's move on to Derion Kendrick here. Sorry, Will, for the slander. Derion Kendrick transfers from Clemson to Georgia, and he's joining a pretty talented secondary there. Really excited to see what he can do there. But talking about a really instinctual corner who's going to have a shot again at that late first range. Someone who probably would have a shot at the late first range if he came out this year, decided to go back, then decided to transfer. Derion Kendrick's got a ton of talents, very long, plays the zone coverage really well. We talked about a bunch of press man guys. This is a zone coverage corner, and he is someone who I think will fit in that scheme. You know, something similar to kind of what the Giants run with James Bradbury. Something similar to that is where I think he fits best at the next level. Is that how that works? Is it number 11?
It's kind of a tough look, yeah.
Yeah, I guess, right? It's not great.
I mean,
we'll take. Yeah,
he should take a 21.
Yeah, that probably would have been better. But he took 11. Is there a reason for it, or you muted yourself to talk?
He had number 1 at Clemson.
Right.
I just maybe want to stick with the 1 combo. Take 21. I don't know. I don't like it. All right, what do you think about him though?
No, I think sorry. I think we're talking about end of the first round type of guy, potentially second round, but I do think that he's going to have an opportunity in that Georgia secondary to really show what he can do. I thought when he was transferring, this is someone who I figured would have to go to a lower level school, maybe a group of 5 school. But then thanks to our guy Jeremiah Bogan, we got the full story. So we actually get to see him go to an SEC school here and compete against. He'll get to compete against John Mechie. He'll get to compete against. He's actually going to get better tape than what he would have gotten at Clemson by going to Georgia. It's a better situation for him, playing with some really high caliber corners. So I think his instincts, his tackling ability, his zone coverage ability are all off the charts, and real excited to see what he'll do this year. I know you covered him down in the SEC, so I'm interested to hear what you think of him.
Yeah, I mean, Darion Kendrick, you think this is a converted wide receiver. So you don't really what you're expecting is not really what you see, because while he is pretty inexperienced at corner, if you're talking a year's perspective, he is very instinctual. I mean, you can tell that he understands offense and that he knows how to combat it, and that at times he's just 2 steps ahead of the receiver. That said, I do think he struggles in man coverage, as you said. I do think there's some issues about him getting beat deep. I don't know if he's got that elite speed and that elite makeup speed that you need in a man in a man type of scheme. I do think in a zone scheme, there's a lot of that cover 4 sort of taking over the NFL with the 2 high safeties. I think he could potentially morph into a starter there. You said late day 1, early day 2. I'm a little later on him. I'm thinking right now like he's about a 3rd, 4th round pick more so, and he's also another scheme specific guy. So these guys can also fall. But yeah, Darion Kendrick. I mean, it's not what you expect, because he's really, really instinctual. Just has a couple of shortcomings there. Like I said, man coverage. Teams value that, but if he lands the right situation, a little bit to Elam, just to a lower extent, with a lower ceiling, I think he can turn into a quality player.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's 6 of the guys that we are real interested in going into next year. We'll see which of these guys perform this year, which of these guys ball out. There's we mentioned at the beginning of the show, there's the 2 Washington guys that we have not gotten to yet, so we'll eventually get you a take on them. There's plenty of other guys out there. Real excited though, just to get talking about these guys for the 2021 season, because it's coming up. I think we're only 3 or 4 weeks away from the first college football Saturday, which is going to be a ton of fun. We'll be breaking down prospects for you till then, and then once that starts, we'll be breaking down prospects, kind of what we do. So really excited.
Close.
It's close. We'll see if we'll see if any of these guys can separate themselves, or if they just all have great seasons. Let's hope they all have great seasons, and then we get to argue about it for 6 months.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I said before the show, I think it's got a shot. This class has a shot to be I don't know, in a high end talent sense. I mean, you obviously have the 2 guys, in my opinion, in Stingley and Booth, who I think are top tier type talents, early first round type picks. If everything goes right for them. I think, though, on day 2 and day 3, a bit similar to last year's draft, if I remember correctly, there's a number of names of players that people are fans of right now, and rightfully so. I think this could be a deep corner class. We could really see a number of NFL contributors, even if it's just for 2-3 seasons on a rookie deal, where we could look back, this class had a number of starting caliber type players in the NFL on day 2, even early day 3. I mean, it's going to be a deep class anyways, but I think at the corner position, it really shows more so than at other positions.
Yep, absolutely. And just a little update.
Great timing to take a drink there.
Yeah, I know. You stopped talking as I'm drinking. No, a little update for you guys. We are covering quarterbacks, cornerbacks, offensive tackles, and edge rushers this week while Jack's on vacation, because those are 4 of the most valued positions in the sport. We already did quarterbacks. We already did corners. We, I believe, have one of the positions for Thursday, one of the positions for Saturday. I forget which one we have each day, but we'll be back Thursday, Saturday for that. Stay locked on the NFLDraftBible.com and follow us on Twitter. I put out a tweet. We both retweeted it. Follow us there for updates on our shows. And Jack usually runs it, but I did the tweet today. I handled the social media for you,
Great
Jack.
job.
We can't wait to have you back, because I don't want to do it anymore. So we'll get Jack back here on Tuesday next week to start just cranking through those the NFL roster breakdowns, which we've been doing. So stay locked on that. Lorenz, any final words before we get out of here?
Yeah, I'm still mad you don't count nose tackles and guards as important, like as highly valued positions.
This isn't my values.
This
is the NFL's values.
Yeah, maybe the NFL should rethink their priorities. No, I'm just joking. These shows are a lot of fun for me. I think I'm personally getting to the point where I'm getting pretty comfortable talking about this class. Have seen a lot of players, have heard a lot of opinions from scouts that I really respect, because you can't get to anyone, you can't get to everyone at this time of year just yet. But we got a lot of good scouts, a lot of new scouts over at the NFL Draft Bible. We're gonna have to get one of the Washington guys on to talk about the Washington players, Peter or Alex. That should be fun. But it's a fun class. It's gonna be a deep draft class. And just stay along for the ride. Follow us on Twitter and keep tuning into these shows. We'll be back for you guys on Thursday, so keep it locked till then.